Welcome to Smart Remarks, where we recall that old Republican adage, cheaters always win. So President Obama was inaugurated for a second term this week, and he gave a rousing speech, a full-throated defense of the welfare state, saying that gays are citizens too, and we have to do something, and soon, about climate change. And Republicans were fuming quietly, outraged! And I saw that ratings for the inaugural ceremonies on Fox News were lowest among the major news networks. I wonder why that is. But at the same time, Republicans in Virginia, and even here in Pennsylvania, were quietly acting. Down in Virginia, taking advantage of the fact that one Democratic senator was attending the festivities, Republicans in the Virginia Senate passed a bill that would redraw Senate district maps to favor the GOP. Now, there's no word on whether Virginia Republican Governor Bob McDonnell will sign this, but why wouldn't he sign it? I'm sure it was passed for only the purest of motives to make things more fair to GOP candidates. And it's the very same thing going on here, sort of in a different format here in Pennsylvania, as Republicans are trying to cheat. Rework the electoral process so that it's more fair, if by fair you mean electing more Republican candidates. Earlier this month, House Republicans sponsored House Bill 94. It's just the latest iteration of an ongoing attempt by the GOP to rig presidential elections in their favor. It would allocate electoral votes based upon which candidate won each individual congressional district, rather than how the state as a whole voted. If you know anything about Pennsylvania, you'll know we've got Philadelphia on one side, Pittsburgh on the other, and the great mass Pennsyltucky, as it's called, in the middle. The great rural portions of the state which vote overwhelmingly Republican. But see, the problem is the Republican voters in the middle of the state don't have the numbers to overwhelm the massive Democratic majorities in the urban areas. So this is an attempt to give rural voters greater clout. 60 or 65% of Pennsylvanians may vote for the Democrat, but if they're concentrated in the urban areas, Republican voters can still run the table. Will it happen? Maybe. But let's talk about why this is happening, why these attempts are going down here in Pennsylvania and elsewhere. Pennsylvania is your classic purple state, but it's becoming more blue and less red as time goes on. There's a lot of reasons for this, mostly demographic, but the fact is that Pennsylvania may never be more conservative than it is right now, and in fact, it's poised to become less conservative and more democratic. And the same is true right here in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Folks have long thought of this as a bastion of conservatism and republicanism, and Republicans still hold a major advantage in terms of voter registration, but that advantage has been eroding over the years, and it is going to continue to do so. Now, that does not mean that Democrats will be ruling the roost here next year, or in 5 years, or in 10 years, and 20 years. But what it means is that right here in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, we have probably passed peak republicanism. This community will never again be as conservative as it is right at this moment, and in the future, it is only going to become less conservative. Republicans here in Pennsylvania and throughout the purple states elsewhere know this. All of this represents an attempt to do something about it. With younger voters and an increasingly diverse populace, Republicans have no other choice. It all amounts to a desperate rearguard action. And it might work, but it can only work for a while. You just can't hold back the tides, and I suspect even Republicans know that. So I'm going to make a radical suggestion here. Instead of cheating, why not try to do something to appeal to today's voters instead?